Hey, welcome back, everybody. Welcome back to our challenge, our holiday challenge that we are calling Chill and Make Memories. If you were with us yesterday, we were here for session one, which was holiday vision setting. And we are taking those visions that we dreamed about. What do we want our holiday season to be like, feel like, smell like? What do we get to do and what do we get to capture? And then today we're going to take those and talk about how we're going to make a plan. Now, it's going to take us a little bit of time to make a plan. We're going to talk about making a plan today, and we're actually going to talk about some more ideas tomorrow. And tomorrow we'll even talk about how we get to like setting boundaries and things like that. So, but today I wanted to remind you, if you didn't catch yesterday's session, if you're live in the Facebook group, Clarity Mastermind, the replay is in there. The replays are also still live on YouTube and LinkedIn, both on my just regular profiles there. And you can catch them there in replay for some time. All right. We're probably not going to leave them up there forever just because it's funny for someone to show up and be like, what's session 3 of blah, blah. So we'll keep them up for a little bit and then we'll bring them down. Hey, lady. So session 2. Today we're talking about let's make a plan. And hi, thanks for showing up, ladies. Today we're going to talk about how do you make a plan, right? Most people get overwhelmed with things, and then what they really need is a plan. And maybe it starts with a budget. Maybe it starts with, what are the 4 or 5 big things I want to accomplish over the next 2 weeks of holidays or 10 days of holidays or whatever it is. And, how do I fit them in? Hi, thanks for coming in, everybody. And maybe, it's how do you fit those rocks in? Maybe you just need a large roadmap and you can kind of work from there. Or maybe you need more of a detailed roadmap. Everybody's a little bit different. And today we're going to give you some tips and ideas on how to make your plan. Ideally, I would start with a budget first and then go into some of the things we're going to talk about today. Tips for meals, tips for gifts. And then, like I said, tomorrow we're going to talk about how you may outsource some things and how you even instill healthy boundaries. Okay. So those are some of the things we want to talk about today. I really want to start with saying I highly encourage you to create a budget. We're going to talk a little bit about money today, but I'm not going to go deep into it. So that's a really good thing to sit down and think about. What do you really want to spend this Christmas? My husband and I do that every year. Every year we talk about what do we want to spend on gifts, and then what do we want to spend on food. Y'all, food is expensive. When you host at your house, it's expensive. I'm going to go into a little bit more about that here in just a minute because we are starting with meals. Some tips for you all for meals at the holidays with ease, right? Everything with ease. It needs to be abundant with ease this holiday season. That's what I want for you. The first thing I have for you is simplify. Simplify, simplify, simplify. A lot of people want to come in and plan 18-course meals. If that's you, you do you. Go right ahead. Just know that also wears you out, and you might be making food for 4 days for a 4-hour event. And then how do you keep it warm and how do you keep it fresh? All of those things come in with additional logistics on how you keep that going and how it still tastes good, right? It takes a lot of planning to do that. But it's not necessary. There's no reason to have 18-course meals, especially whenever you're doing things like our Christmas Eve dinners used to be really complicated. We would have like steak, and then we added steak and lobster because my husband likes to go over the top. And we'll go to Costco, and he's like, "Oh, look, they have lobster tails." I said, "Yeah, I know, but we're already gonna have prime rib. My parents will bring that over." And he's like, "Yeah, so we need to bring the lobster tails." I'm like, "Oh my gosh." Right? But you can simplify. It doesn't have to be a whole bunch. Another thing is that we have traditions that stack on top of each other. And so my mom wants to make like 12 different desserts. My dad's favorite cookie, her like Toll House bars, some pecan pies we've made forever, some other things, dump cakes, more kinds of dump cakes, one blueberry, one cherry, by pecan and pumpkin pies. And then my sister always makes something amazing pumpkin, like pumpkin cheesecake or like turnovers or something like that. It's so extra. And it's not necessary because honestly, then like, what do you do afterwards with all of the freaking desserts sitting around? My parents like to leave it in my house. That's one of the bad things about, yes, make just a few staples. Don't feel bad about paring down. It's completely okay to pare down. Or don't make a double batch. It's the other thing my mom does. Bless her heart. She will make a double batch of lots of desserts, and it's just not necessary. And I will tell you, she starts making desserts like 3 or 4 days before a holiday. You and then my dad will like put them in like a big gallon bag and just throw them in the freezer and then kind of like warm them up throughout the year. So good on him. Actually, I think my Mimi does the same thing. I found some in our mountain cabin where she left like 2 big gallon bags of cookies in the freezer. Oh, love her. But you don't have to have 12 desserts either. I'm serious though. My mom makes desserts for like 3 days moving leading up to a holiday. 3 days minimum. 3 days. All right. The next thing I want to share with you is create a menu. If you don't want to do 18 courses, what is it going to be? Maybe it's a main meat and then like 3 sides, 2 sides, whatever you want it to be, and then like 4 desserts. Maybe you want to pair some drinks with it. I have a good friend that used to make this like peppermint alcohol drink. I'm trying to remember. It's like a peppermint martini or something like that. It was super pepperminty, but it was good. And good on her for, planning something festive. And it was, like I said, it was good. It's not something I would drink every day, very, very pepperminty, but, create a menu and then stick with it. It'll help you build your holiday budget too. When you think about, okay, with my family, there's normally about 14 to 6 of us whenever we sit down for Thanksgiving or whatever. And like I said, at Thanksgiving, we fry turkeys. We're up to 3 turkeys now. We started with 1, then we went to 2. We ended up having 2 with all of us and still having no meat left for leftovers. So we've moved up to 3. So on any given day, we've spent anywhere from $20 to $45 on a turkey. You do the math. Times 3. We're talking like $150 just for the meat. And then it costs about $60 for the peanut oil to fry it all. And then we use like a bottle or 2 of like injectors into the turkey so you can marinate it and then fry it whole with the marinade in it. And it's y'all, it's at least $200 just for the meat. I mean, there's 16 of us that are coming, right? So you normally need like a pound of meat per person. And we're talking somewhere around like 30 to 40 pounds of meat. Whenever you think about 3 whole turkeys, a lot of it's bones, got it. But still, it's a lot going on, right? So how much do you really need whenever you have all of that? The nice thing though is you can actually plan a meal plan, so like a menu, and then stick with your budget. Like I said, we usually bring the meat to Thanksgiving, and then we may do a couple of sides. But the next tips for meals that I have for you is to farm out the responsibilities. Even if it's you just ask like your little brother to bring like a bag of ice. Stop at 7-Eleven or whatever your convenience store is and bring a couple bags of ice. Anybody can spend $6 or less on bags of ice and help out with something, right? So bring a bag of ice. Someone can bring to-go containers. My sister, like I said, she and her husband are in the medical industry. So usually like one of them is there for one of the holidays and one of the other holidays, they're both there. So it's rare that we get both of them at every holiday, just because there's no days off in the medical field. Everybody takes a turn on some holiday, right? So, maybe somebody brings to-go containers. So like your spouse can bring something home. Or if you got to try 2 of the pies and there were 4, take home something like that. What was one of the last things I did? Maybe you ask the teenagers to take out the trash. That's what we do. Because trash piles up, right? Especially if you're doing paper plates and solo cups and stuff like that. What do you do with all the trash? It's a regular process of taking things out, right? So the teens, or some of the older guys, hey, will you take the out, it's getting full. We may give people dish duty. That's one of the lovely things about my sister-in-law. I was telling you guys about Sarah yesterday, and she always chips into the dishes. It's so kind. It's something you could think of as like simple, but it means a lot to people who have been like pulling together a meal all day, or even some for days. If you're one of the days people, I'm not judging. I'm just saying it's not what I want. I want simple and I want ease because I want to spend time with people I haven't seen all year. But farm out the responsibilities. That's another way of helping you keep with your budget. As you get closer to the event, more and more people will start asking you what they can bring. What can you bring? One of my uncles, my Aunt Holly's in here. Her husband, Owen, is an amazing cook. That guy just whips stuff up and it's fantastic. It may be Cajun, it may be Asian, it may be, Southern. It's always good. Almost everything that guy makes. I've never had anything that Owen makes that isn't good. So now that we're on like our third Thanksgiving at our place, I think in advance, if Holly and Owen ask, what can we bring for Thanksgiving? I know already. Like, I'm ready for it. You need to be ready for it too. And it's, like I said, it's a great way for you to keep everything in your budget. So you don't have to go spend hundreds of dollars on meat, hundreds of dollars on, wine, or, a specialty drink, or even like, Capri Suns or something for the kids, right? It all adds up. That's another great thing. If someone has a bunch of kids coming and they're like, hey, what can we bring? Tell them whatever your kids want to snack on and whatever they want to drink. If they like lemonade, if they like Capri Suns, if they like organic apple juice, bring whatever your kids will bring. That's another thing with whenever we became like in college and then past that, my siblings and I, and this is before we were all married, my siblings and I would bring whatever we wanted to drink because we all drank something different. My brother may make margaritas, and we all like margaritas, but my sister would rather have like a Michelob Ultra or something. I might want a ranch water or whatever. Everyone just kind of brought what they want, and it really helps you keep in your budget because everyone's kind of chipping in, right? And then that way, people don't show up and see that everybody brought something and they didn't. Everybody wants to contribute. Again, even if it's only to do the dishes. And I don't mean only like it's nothing. It's it all helps. It all helps. Even the kiddos that take the trash out, it helps. So be ready with thinking about what you can delegate and outsource to kids, other siblings, other family members that are showing up. Think about that. And think about how you can farm out the responsibilities. And like I said, it helps you stay in your budget too. All right, so the fourth item I have for here is you don't have to make everything. What can you buy? And maybe, honestly, one year we bought everything out. It was years ago, and I don't remember what happened, but my mom bought like an entire, or maybe there was just only a few of us that Christmas or Thanksgiving, I forget. It's probably 5 or 6 years ago, and she bought this huge package of stuff at like our local grocer. I think it was Tom Thumb, and it had all of the sides. It had a huge, I think it was like a turkey breast. It wasn't like a full bird, but I think there were only a few of us that holiday season, and so we just ate. Picked up stuff at the grocery store, and that's what we ate. But another thing you can do is like, in our case, one of the things we tend to buy out, we will go to Costco and get some large sides that are already made. All you have to do is warm them up. The beauty of this is that they normally taste really good. You still know they taste good. You didn't have to make it. It's one less thing you have to put in your schedule. If, I have to make this beforehand before, the meat's ready and drinks are ready and all those other things, right? Everything has to be ready at the same time. We bought macaroni and cheese. They have these big things of macaroni and cheese honey baked ham is another great option. We love honey baked ham. Another thing you could buy at Costco is mac and cheese. Last year, we decided we were not going to buy gravy. That's the next thing I would say is you should buy anything that's too challenging. Gravy is not for everybody. It's not a simple process. It is kind of a simple process. I mean, it's some sort of fat plus, flour, and then you thicken it. up, and then you pour in some liquid, and then you cook it down to make it thicker, and then you make sure it's got enough salt and flavor and all of the things. But it's not. I mean, it's chemistry, and it takes time to perfect it. So if it's not something you've done before, I highly recommend that you hire it out the first couple times, and then maybe practice once or twice before you make it for like the whole family. So you don't have like watery, bland, flour tasting gravy. Just FYI, everybody wants good food. Everybody wants it warm. So think about that. May be one of the things that you hire out, right? One of the things you go buy somewhere. We have a grocery store just down the street from us called Central Market. If you're from the Texas area, it's an HEB brand, but they have like one of the best turkey gravy, and it's kind of pricey. But again, I didn't have to make it. It tastes really good, and it goes with the turkey and mashed potatoes that we have in the house. So think about that. Another option you could do is make something early. Like I've made mashed potatoes in my Instant Pot, and all I had to do was warm them up the day before. So I could actually do that days in advance, while I'm doing Christmas cards or whatever. I could put a bunch of potatoes and cream and all the things that go in a simple mashed potato in my Instant Pot, and I can get it done in less than 45 minutes. Put it in a serving pan, put it in our refrigerator or freezer outside, and then all I have to do is warm it up the day of. That's another option as well too. So you could cook ahead for some of the things that are simple and inexpensive. You decide what makes sense for you. When it comes to simplifying meals too, like not every meal has to be a traditional meal. If you're doing something on New Year's Eve, maybe you just want to do like tamales and beans and rice. All of those things you can find at a good local restaurant. And it's like low maintenance, extremely easy. I told you guys about Costco mashed potatoes and gravy. The last thing I have for you here is, one of the things about challenging. Other sauces are things that we also, you could say hire out. We buy it. So I love Eggs Benedict, and so does my husband. And when we make it, we will go buy hollandaise sauce from a place nearby that we love. Another thing is my husband will make, he makes dinner almost every night, if y'all didn't know that. I'm usually working a little late, and he does dinner almost every single night in our house. He will make chicken or shrimp Alfredo, and it's amazing. And you know why it's amazing? We buy the Alfredo sauce from Olive Garden. He doesn't make it. He could go buy a jar. We haven't found a jar or something that we like yet. So he buys it in these like large bowls. They're like quart-sized bowls from Olive Garden. And I love their Alfredo sauce. It's probably loaded with butter and salt, but it's fantastic. And I've always loved it. And it's nice because like he'll go grill the shrimp and then, make the pasta, or grill chicken and make the pasta. And then he will buy the Olive Garden sauce, and every single one of us love it. We do. Now he and I may put a little more like crushed red pepper on it or something, but it's fantastic. You can laugh at me all day about Olive Garden. Doesn't hurt my feelings. It does not hurt my feelings. It's good and it's easy. It's easy. It's a little more expensive than what you would want to pay for sauce, but you didn't have to make it. And it tastes amazing every time. That's the beautiful thing about buying stuff. All right. So my last bullet I have for you here on tips for meals is, it's probably an unpopular opinion, you can order out everything. Just order out. I mentioned that earlier. We did that one year, and I cannot remember why. Maybe the turkey was bad or something. I don't remember. My mom and dad ended up buying the whole dinner at our local grocery store, Tom Thumb. And we just warmed it all up and ate it, and it was fine. It's fine. It wasn't like amazing, but it was fine. One of my favorite things to go buy, especially like a special event, or like I said, New Year's Eve or Christmas Eve dinner, maybe the day after Thanksgiving, whatever, is to go buy a pan of lasagna. Oh yeah, I love La Madeleine. French cuisine is right to my heart. We bought a pan of lasagna and tiramisu from like our favorite Italian restaurant in the small town we were living in at the time, and loved it for Christmas Eve. We did it for my son's birthday one year too, because that's like his favorite Italian restaurant. It's reasonably priced. It saves time. Again, you didn't make it. There's no dishes, no pots and pans. You have a dish that you bought. You can eat it all and throw it away. And it's fantastic. And all you had to do was swipe or tap your card or write a check or hand them cash. That's all you had to do, and dinner was ready. It's not a bad gig. It's not a bad gig. So before you judge it, you may want to try it one time. Have your holidays with ease. It's okay to have a New Year's Eve dinner that you bought at a local restaurant, and then warm it up, put it on your fancy plates if you want. Sit by the fire with a glass of wine and your lasagna that you bought at, in my case, it's Mancuso's, and their amazing tiramisu. You do you, but it's a possibility, and all you had to do was order it and go pick it up. It's not a bad gig. Okay, moving on. Ideas for gifts. The first thing I really want to share with you all is do what works for your budget. Don't feel like you have to spend a lot of money, because spending a lot of money doesn't always mean a quality gift. It always doesn't always mean a thoughtful gift. Most people would love a very thoughtful gift than something they know you spent a lot of money on. Especially if they're not expecting to spend a lot of money back on you, then it might actually be awkward. So that's something you need to think about. You need to do what works for your budget. And if you're in a place right now where, say, like you just may have been laid off. I don't know if you guys know that not only did Twitter do a bunch of layoffs, but today Facebook did a ton of layoffs too. In fact, some people I know even. So, yes, I love homemade gifts, especially when money is tight. And even when it isn't, some people love homemade gifts. Like it means so much more that you made it from you, right? One example of that, and I was going to get to this later, is that some friends of mine are amazing. They've got like 10 green thumbs. I don't even have half of a green thumb, or even like half of a green nail. They will make, like, they will grow, they will grow peppers in their backyard. They have like a garden, and then they make jelly for the family, like habanero peach, some jalapeno pineapple, or I think it's jalapeno pineapple. But anyways, they make spicy jelly, and it's fantastic. You can put it on toast. You can put it over like a little block of cream cheese. It's fantastic. But I love that they do that, and I think other people love it too. I don't think people look at it and say, "Oh, you were cheap. You made me some jelly." It's I don't have half a green nail. It's so true. But they, it's something they make. They took the time to grow something. They grow their own peppers from their own garden, and jelly takes time, y'all. It takes time. To even like make the seal on the top, and yeah, go look it up. I promise. So the point though is quality over quantity, and thoughtfulness trumps money any day for most people. It's not a rule. There are exceptions, but quality usually trumps quality. Quality trumps quantity. Excuse me. I said quality and quality both. Anyways, moving along, like I said. Another thing that we've been trying to do in our family, and my dear friend Gemma has started this in the last couple of years too, and I just love it. It's experiences instead of things. So we would rather our kids wake up and open up a box that has like a ski helmet in it, or Mickey ears, or a Luau shirt. So they know that, we're going on a trip this year and this is where we're going. And that's part of their gift for the year. For about 3 years in a row, we would go to New York the first weekend in December. I happened to be there multiple years in a row because of the program I was working on. I was in the New York area, but that was a part of their Christmas. Look, we're going to go to New York for the weekend, and we're going to go see shows that y'all want to see. We're going to eat whatever you guys want to eat, and, maybe pick up a couple things for the Christmas holidays. And then whenever it's time for Christmas Day, you're not going to have 15 things under the tree. You may have 3, because this trip is also included. It's experiences over things. Because my husband and I always talk about, at the end of our lives, what do we really want? We want the memories, not the things, because then we have a bunch of things laying around that our kids are going to have to go through, instead of the memories. that we shared on, new explorations and journeys and travels, spending fun time together. So that's something super important to us. And maybe it is for you, maybe it isn't. Maybe it's, a new flashlight because you're going to go camping in a week or something like that, right? We love those kinds of things for Christmas gifts. Another thing is we talked about making gifts. I made my boys one year these no-sew blankets. They're like 2-layered fleece, and then you cut, the edges around it, and then you tie them in knots. And so they're really thick, warm fleece, and they have these little cute knots on it. And I made it whatever they wanted it to be. My middle son is a total motorhead, and so his had hot rod cars and motorcycles on it. My oldest, he's always been a camo guy, still wants to be a Navy SEAL even at 15. And we made his, green and whatever camo. The youngest, shoot, I don't remember what we made for Landon. Oh, sorry, Ellie. Sorry. Kick the dog. Sorry, girl. Sorry. And then my youngest had one too. So, we made them these big blankets, and that was one of their gifts for that Christmas. And it's a huge thing. And then they open it up, and my kids love blankets. My mom makes blankets. So all of them love blankets. Even my oldest, who's 15, my husband even appreciates a good blanket. Okay. No-sew blankets. Like I said, homemade jelly. The first year of COVID, my dad was actually out of a job almost the entire year. I think it was about 10 months. And my stepmom, she crocheted these like blue and dark purple scarves for our boys, and they love them. They still wear them even. And, that was 2 Christmases ago. They love them. And then she made them these huge jars with all of the ingredients except for the wet stuff for cookies. And then we got to make cookies with them. That's like what they got for Christmas. And they loved it. In fact, every Christmas after that, they still talk about it. And we made these cookies. Now, they were like big jars, like a pickle jar or a milk jar or whatever. They were big. So they made, I think it's at least a double batch of cookies. So we put out like these Christmas paper plates, and we separated them and gave them to all of our neighbors too. And so I let my boys take them and go do it. And they loved it. Yes, we love donating too. That's what I was just saying. We love that we made these cookies that my mom and dad made for us, or they made the ingredients, and then my boys enjoyed making them, and then they even enjoyed handing them out. One of the ginger cookies were amazing. The ginger snaps were amazing. Yes, I love donating too. It's a great thing to do in December, and then even spending time at places where your kids can help, with different local charities and things like that. That's a great idea as well. All right. So making gifts is a great thing. Personalized gifts are huge. So I told you guys that thoughtful gifts are a big deal. All right. I don't know how many grandmas I have on here, dog moms, moms in general, right? Have any of you received like a ornament with paw print on it, or a handmade card from one of your kids, or let's see, a cup from your kids that have your grandkids' pictures on them? Like, those are the most cherished things from my parents, is stuff with my kids on it. They love it. And if something happens, like a cup and the like the thing breaks off on it, they will glue it back together and then no longer use it as a drinking cup. They will set it aside, and they will put pencils in it and whatever, and they will still show off the pictures that are on it. And so it's something that like they still really cherish. My parents do. My grandparents do. My grandparents love pictures too. It's just kind of things that they cherish, right? So personalized gifts, something with baby hands, coffee cups with pictures and things like that. It's really thoughtful. Now, I will tell you that my sister and her husband exchange gifts normally whenever we meet together as a family. And one year he made her a like a Yeti cup, when Yeti cups are really like really coming out, and it was powder coated. And it said something, it was like, I'm your Huckleberry or something like that, one of her favorite video or movie quotes. and I think her name on it. And she was in near tears. I think she got like soft sapphire earrings that Christmas and this cup, but this thoughtful cup was just so touching for her. That's what I'm saying. Like something thoughtful over expensive can be a big deal. So that's why I remembered to write that down. A powder coated Yeti was it was just a huge thing for her. All right, so the last thing I have for you here on ideas for gifts is baskets. My sister is the queen of baskets. She really is. It's super thoughtful. She makes a basket for like every family in our family. So like my husband and my kids, she'll make a basket with stuff that has like hot chocolate and specialty marshmallows in it because all my kids love hot chocolate with marshmallows. And then she'll have Topo Chico and silver tequila in it for my husband and I. And maybe some hot sauce for my husband. It's very thoughtful. It's not expensive, but it's lovely that she spent the time to buy all of these little things that made her think of us, each one of us, and put it in a basket, this beautiful cellophane over it, and a beautiful bow. And, you know, she probably put a bunch of chocolate in it too, because most of my kids and husband love chocolate. And that's what we got for Christmas. And we're not even supposed to be exchanging gifts, but it's just so thoughtful and it's lovely and it doesn't have to be expensive and people will love it. So these are just some things that I want you to think about whenever you think about, you know, what is your budget? And then what are you going to do for meals and gifts, you know, excursions? What are you going to do to stay in your budget, still get what you want, feel what you want? And the question I ask you guys here at the end is, you know, at the end of your holiday season, how do you want to feel? I want you to keep that in mind as you go through the season, as you make your plan for the season. What do you want to get out of it? And that's what you need to plan towards. Y'all, I am like the queen of clarity. I really am. Like I should probably go, you know, rebrand myself Queen of Clarity. But I know what's important to me and I keep those at the forefront of my brain all the time. When I'm making a decision on what I'm going to spend my time on, my goals and priorities are at the forefront of my head. And I'm like, oh, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to talk a little bit more about it next week, tomorrow night on our last session here about how to build boundaries and what you do there. And I even have some great ideas on like words you can say to people that are still kind, but keep your boundaries. You know, I get 4 weeks of vacation in a year and I spend time with family, usually like one of those weeks. And it tends to be like some time at Christmas or maybe some time in the summer. But those other 3 weeks are really important to me to spend time with my boys and my husband. They're very important to me because that's what my number one priority is. My kids are not going to be here forever. And whenever they grow up and go have relationships with other people, their partner is going to be the one that runs the show. And I know that. I know that. Usually the girl always trumps. Boy, I'm just saying that. Boy moms kind of lose out afterwards. It's okay. I know that. And I'm relishing the time I have with them right now. So ask yourself, what do you want at the end of this holiday season? How do you want to feel? How do you want to experience that time? What do you want out of it? It's okay for you to have goals and desires too. It's okay. I give you permission. There you go. Do you want to feel broke and bloated? Or maybe that you didn't get to see the people that you wanted to see? Be intentional. Plan to be intentional to maybe, and we'll talk about tomorrow too, you know, maybe you need to think about instead of being broke, sticking with a budget. Have a realistic budget and stick with it. Have a meal plan. And maybe part of your meal plan is, you know, we're bringing all this meat. I'm going to make sure I eat enough turkey first so I don't feel like I have to eat all these other things. And maybe I'm only going to eat 2 cookies or 1 piece of pie because tomorrow I can have another piece of pie. But I don't need to be miserable for the next 2 weeks or 2 days or whatever. Maybe you need to think about, you know, I'm not going to drink. Yes, stick with your budget, Ansley. Maybe you need to think about, I don't want to drink too much. So plan on drinking water first and then a drink and then water again and then a drink. Same thing with if you have a sweet tooth, eat your first cookie and then drink some water. And then eat the next thing you want to try. And then drink some more water. Or only take bites of it. Like instead of getting a whole piece of pie, get a small piece of pie and maybe a quarter of a cookie. Think of things like that. But you have to have a game plan going in. Otherwise, you're not gonna. I mean, you're just gonna go buck wild again. Think about how you want this season to end, how you want to feel at the end, and make your plan accordingly. Okay. So plan to be intentional about everything. The money you're going to spend, the gifts you're going to give, what kind of gifts you're going to give, what it means to you. I think you guys get the point. So we talked about how you guys can make a plan and build a roadmap, whether it's bullets, if it's 5 ideas you want to write down, or you actually want to write down on a piece of paper, on this day I'm going to do this, and these are my intentions for that event. Maybe on Christmas Eve, my intentions are to eat a steak and half of a baked potato and only, half a slice of pumpkin pie and feel grateful that I have it on my plate. It's okay to feel grateful for even half a piece of pumpkin pie. That's okay. I'm not diet shaming anybody. I get tired of walking out of the holiday season thinking, crap, I gotta spend the whole month of January doing a Whole30 because I need to cleanse all this crap out. Why did I indulge so much? Why all of the excess? Think about that. But you do you. That's why I keep bringing up food because that's what it is for me. A little bit of money. We've gotten better at that. We pretty much stick to our budget these days. I do not stick to my food budget. I do not. And not that I mean like I buy too much food. It's that I want to try everything. So I'm getting better at it. And this is just me telling you guys, everybody's a work in progress. I'm still on my journey. You guys can be too. It is what it is. But so the pro tip I have for you that I did not write in your notes here is just start with a plan. It's not going to go perfect, but it's good to at least have a plan. And then you go from there and roll with the flow. Maybe it's not going to go exactly like you want it to. That's okay. It's still better to at least get a good start at working through your plan than to not have a plan at all. Y'all, life happens. Okay, so tomorrow we're going to talk about setting boundaries, a few additional ideas I have for you all for simplifying and outsourcing, and then building those boundaries too, and then wrapping everything up tomorrow. I would love to hear you all share your key takeaways with us. What did you learn from this one? What are you going to implement? What makes sense for you, or maybe something you learned that's new tonight that you haven't learned before. I hope this was helpful for you guys. I love talking about these. I love having a peaceful, restful holiday season with ease. There's going to be some bumps along the road, but it's going to be fine. You guys I hope you relax more and, really enjoy your holiday season. And this is going to help you get there. So one more night tomorrow with you all. Thanks for being here. We'll see you again, same time, same place tomorrow. Good night.